Hello, and thank you for watching this August 29th weather update, brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I am a senior atmospheric scientist and co-founder of Agrible. In agriculture, the thunderstorm gives and it takes away. Take, for example, this single thunderstorm cell. Within each cubic centimeter, there are nearly 300 cloud droplets. Combined together, this amounts to just 1/1,000,000th of a gram of water, which doesn't seem like much until you remember how big these storms can be. Now, honestly, this particular storm is tiny. It's only about 10 miles wide, about 10 miles long, and about 7 miles tall. Some storms are just as tall, but hundreds of miles long and hundreds of miles deep. But let's focus on this small storm. A storm this size contains over 500 million gallons of water. That's right, over 500 million gallons. All of that water is supported in the air by the buoyancy caused by the rising warm air that is found in the updraft of this storm. What is even more amazing is to think about the energy content of this storm. The energy stored in the cloud water alone is just slightly more than that contained within a megaton nuclear bomb. The numbers are staggering, but we need these storms to be this powerful and this full of water to make agriculture happen on non-irrigated fields. The problems often arise when these storms use the environment in which they form to begin to rotate. This is exactly what happened in Indiana and Ohio last Wednesday. Here is one of the many tornadoes that pushed through northern Indiana and northwestern Ohio. With over 35 reports of tornadoes, this is one of the most active tornado days in August on record. This map shows where each of the warnings were issued by the National Weather Service last Wednesday, and each triangle is a separate tornado report. Research into tornado genesis, which is the birth of a tornado, is ongoing and extensive, and we are still discovering what makes certain environmental conditions perfect for tornado development. Honestly, this event was not well forecast, as the combination of atmospheric variables that came together that afternoon were not exactly the most ideal for tornado development, yet it still occurred. Damage was extensive too. While this was probably the most shared picture of the day, which shows a flattened Starbucks, there were many fields across Indiana and Ohio that look like this. This is what happened when one of these storms is able to focus its energy into a small, destructive, rotating column. Well, with the dew point temperatures climbing way into the 70s, with mid to upper 80 temperatures, well, that combination made a lot of the Corn Belt practically unbearable at times over the last few days. That muggy air also supplied the storms with their water vapor, which eventually fell back to the ground as rain. Here's the last 7 days of accumulated rain through early Sunday morning. We can see that better than 2 inches of rain fell across a large swath of the Corn Belt. Saturated soils will help keep the humidity high until cooler and drier air sweeps through later on this week. Well, this is a 3-hourly temperature animation that shows what we're expecting through Thursday this week. Notice how about midweek, cooler air pushes south from Canada, and along with it some relief from these warm, muggy days. We are expecting heavier rains in the central and southern plains this week, but just widely scattered showers and storms through Monday and Wednesday ahead of this cold front, rather than a big organized system of storms. In other words, many will be able to stay dry this week across the Corn Belt, while others may find themselves under one of these scattered storms. Now, before we leave this animation, I want you to pay attention to the contour lines. Those lines show mean sea level pressure, and in the eastern Gulf of Mexico, we can see how Tropical Depression number 9 is using the warm sea surface temperatures in the Gulf to strengthen before potentially impacting Florida. At this time, the biggest impact from Tropical Depression 9 will be from flooding, as the model consensus keeps this tropical depression below hurricane strength. Now, this is not set in stone yet, and we need to keep a close eye on this system as it does have the potential to become stronger. But clearly we can see from NOAA's forecast of precipitation how much rain we're predicting to fall across the southeastern United States, really centered there on Florida. In addition to Tropical Depression 9, we have Hurricane Gaston and Tropical Depression number 8. While Tropical Depression 8 weakened on Sunday shortly after being confirmed as a tropical depression, the National Hurricane Center is watching this closely as the steering winds in the Atlantic are pushing this depression toward the Carolinas later this week. And that's not the end of it. There's another tropical wave coming off of the coast of Africa that will require close monitoring, but it's more than a week away from us fully knowing what U.S. impacts it could potentially have. Well, finally, I know we don't have a lot of viewers in Hawaii, but I've not forgotten you. This is Tropical Storm Madeline, and the forecast track of this system brings it very close to Hawaii by midweek. I imagine the surfing will be fantastic ahead of this weaker tropical system. But still, prepare for some heavy rains, some high surf, and at times some very gusty winds. Well, that was a lot to talk about, and as always, we at Agrible will bring the latest and best weather forecast information through our morning farm report so that you can efficiently plan your operations. We thank you for your attention and hope you look forward to our next weather video update. Thank you.